Good evening and welcome to the Minions of the Zoo Technical Excellence Edition. I'm your host and keeper of the Harry Channel, and with me tonight are minions Sora Luna.
Good evening.
And SkepTock.
Hi, everybody.
SkepTock, you were telling me about your day.
Yeah, well, the last several days, my wife took some of the grandchildren and one of the daughters, the aunt of the grandchildren, to the Dominican Republic. They're playing around there. I've got about half of the grandchildren here, and their mother and I took them to medieval times. Just one of these things where you eat a half a chicken with your hands, and it's kind of nonsense, but it's great fun with the jousting and so forth and so on. And then there was the 2.5 hours at the indoor trampoline park. Do you know how loud those are? They're louder than a Chuck E. Cheese, and parents everywhere know how loud Chuck E. Cheeses can be. This was like being in the inside of a jet engine or a metal stamping plant. Anyway, so after two hours of that, I was done with that, and it's just nice to be amongst adults. I mean, I love my grandkids, don't get me wrong, but I was ready to put them down and hang with the adults tonight.
I think we understood the spirit in which that comment was made.
Oh yeah.
No, it's good to have you here. I spent a bunch of time trying to deal with the audio problems from last week, and if this doesn't fix it, I told Sora that even though she's thousands of miles away, she will hear me scream with no electronics. If the audio
even over that crappy Canadian internet,
if the audio goes tits up tonight, I'm going to be so annoyed, because really the only thing left is just to buy a new computer that I use for nothing but streaming that only runs Windows, and that is not going to happen. So
devoted hardware to run Windows.
Hey,
that's so wasteful. I can't stand it.
I actually have a semi-professional soundboard now doing all the exterior audio processing. I have one virtual mic device set up, and then the rest of it is all just being handled by the exterior soundboard.
So what does this enable you to do for the layman out there? And
what it enables me to do is take all of the problematic stuff that tends to make the Mac's audio layer break and remove it from the Mac so it doesn't have to deal with it. I can change individual levels a lot more easily than I could before, and sound effects. And
so you're abstracting kind of a level of control from the controls that Mac gives you, which you don't like, to these controls.
Well, I can do a much better job of it this way. It supports Bluetooth. So if, for instance, I wanted to talk to somebody who's an expert in a particular field and just have them join the show, I could literally pick up my phone and call them and integrate that in with the show, and you guys would be able to talk back and forth. That's a thing I can do now.
That's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. It's a weird flex, I know, but
but the nerd in me is just going, yeah, right on.
Yeah. I actually called Imaginary Girlfriend today, and I told her, I said, I'm talking to you through my professional soundboard connected via Bluetooth to my phone. If you don't like the way I sound now, it's never going to get any better than this. This is the apex.
You said Imaginary Girlfriend. I got to tell you something. There's something funny that keys with that phrase with me. I've been working up a song by Atlanta Rhythm section called Imaginary Lover. It's a great guitar piece. It's got a really cool jazz lead in it, fusion kind of jazz lead that I've been working on. But every time, and so I play along with the record quite a bit, and every time I hear it, all I hear is Imaginary Girlfriend. Imaginary Girlfriend.
Well, I told you the origin of that, right? Of where the whole Imaginary Girlfriend thing came from. It was when I was playing pool at night, and people say, "Where's this girlfriend of yours? We don't believe she exists." And I'm like, I don't care. So they just started calling her Imaginary. I said, fine, I'll call her that too. So it just kind of stuck. It's just a running joke.
Yeah.
just like some of my
That's
friends.
what he wants us to know. You
Exactly. Just like some of my my friends over the years, when I would sort of go into rant mode, they'd start saying, "Oh, it's the Harry channel, all Harry all the time," and so I just, when people if people mock me, but in a nice way,
No,
I
no,
just incorporate it. I just own it.
know? That's cute, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
these
like
are my
that.
friends.
imaginary is so much better than inflatable.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I was trying to think of now you've got my mind going because I was thinking of all the different phrases: machine washable,
Yeah.
drip dry. Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Anyway, hi Sora.
Hello.
So, what's new and exciting with you?
I got myself an iPad mini
Hmm.
because it's pink.
Hmm.
And I spent like 3 weeks watching YouTube videos about comparing all the different models, about like, then trying to think for myself, why do I want it? And then I decided to get it anyway. So that's fun. I've been playing with it. It's really, really nice.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the only tablet that's actually a tablet still, for the size and everything. It's a fun little device.
Yeah, it's not a keyboardless laptop. Basically, it's actually still.
Yeah, so it's because I have I have my phone, I have my laptop. It's the intermediary, right?
Mhm.
So it's great. I love it.
Let's see. We should say hi to chat. Frosted Glass, howdy. Spud Gun, excellent. Green Badger, Cannibalistic Wizard. Let's see who else. I think it's kind of a slow day on YouTube today. Feels like a slow day, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel like we're all just fatigued and want to take a nap? I know I
This
do.
whole week.
Yeah. My energy level was not been high, but I determined I was going to come on the show and give it my best efforts, such as it is.
Yeah, I think it was. What did I have for dinner? I had some crazy. I think it was a Cubana torta, which I've seen in a bunch of places before, but this thing was steak, Mexican sausage, bacon, ham, and regular sausage and cheese. It was just insane.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, and it really
Was it good?
sort of. I feel like half the meat should have been turned into queso fresco and guacamole, and it would have been more interesting. It was just a lot of meat, which in principle sounds like a good idea, but in practice it's like, sometimes wanting is not nearly as, sometimes wanting, how's the phrase go? It's a Spock thing. Sometimes having is not as great a thing as wanting. It isn't logical, but it's often true, something along those lines. Yeah.
Yes. Often there is more pleasure in the wanting than in the having.
Yeah. No kidding.
Paradox.
So, do you want to get into it? We should probably reorder things a little bit because if Sora's internet goes away, I don't want her to miss out on this thing that I have set up for her. So I'm going to skip ahead, and we can talk a little bit about the submarine thing, just a little bit. Okay. The memes have already started. I was not disappointed.
Oh, well.
Sam Hyde. You're familiar with the Sam Hyde meme, right, Skep?
Let's see.
Comedian Sam Hyde. Essentially,
No, I-
people on the internet, they just post memes about him being associated with like every major news event or disaster that happens. And he's a comedian, and this has just been a running joke for the last several years. So you've officially, the story's officially closed when this happens. They had Sam Hyde as a Ukrainian jet fighter and just a million other things. I think if they could, they'd probably have Sam Hyde at the Hindenburg.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird kind of modern version of Kilroy was here.
It is kind of, but in terms of the submarine thing, I mean, I know it's a little early to be showing memes of this, but I found this video and it aged, I think, very poorly. Let's see.
Talk about an offer that's hard to refuse. Our David Pogue was invited recently to
This
join
is
the
from
highly
about a year
select
ago.
and very small group of people who've actually made it to the bottom of the Atlantic to view firsthand the eerie remains of the Titanic. It promised to be quite a journey, quite a story besides.
Nobody.
Maybe you've
is
heard the story of the
unctuous.
Titanic.
But he made it back.
I think there was a movie about it.
Yeah, so there's the movie, and then there's the thing, you know, and they're interviewing the guy, and, you know, it's just this fluff piece where they're essentially cupping this guy's balls where they talk about this, this thing where you get to go down to the ocean.
Talks about his innovative woke hiring practices.
Yeah.
And, he doesn't want a company that looks like 50-year-old white men who, you know,
But the star
were
of the show is
ex-submarine
the
drivers
Titan,
in the Navy.
Stockton Rush's
Yeah.
custom-built submersible.
Look at this.
5-inch thick carbon fiber, capped on
Sure.
each end by a dome of titanium.
What could
If
go
all went
wrong?
well, I myself would be spending about
If.
12 hours sealed inside
Yeah.
on a dive to the Titanic. Not gonna lie, I was a little nervous.
An experimental submersible vessel that has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, or death. Where do I sign? Oh,
So, yeah, this goes on for a
They
while.
can get a little too relaxed there. Just, you know.
Yeah, he even commented that it looked like pieces of it were sort of thrown together with off-the-shelf hardware. Now, I like commercial off-the-shelf hardware. I think it's a great thing to use when possible, but there is a time and a place. And usually at extreme pressure or extreme vacuum is neither the time nor the place.
That is 6,000 psi at the depth that the thing went out at. That is so much pressure. When that hull failed, the air inside it was compressed to such a small volume that the certain equations asserted themselves, and an extremely hot ball of gas was created, probably in excess of 10,000 degrees.
Yeah, they did not suffer.
No, and that was a millisecond, and I mean a millisecond after the hull failed. That's how fast that it happens, faster than you can even conceive of. You have nothing to measure against. You no way of understanding how fast that is.
We might have a friend in the sidelines, Harry.
We do. Hey,
Might.
it's another Canadian. It's DrFunctional.
I slept through my alarm. Hi, everyone. Okay, so I know nothing about this. I've seen memes everywhere. I couldn't care less. But I know about this. I know about this stuff.
You couldn't care
It's
less, but you
funny.
will care less anyway.
It's fun. Well, I know about the technical aspects of it because, Skep mentions it's like 600 psi or 6,000 psi.
6,000 psi.
Do you know what the atmosphere pressure is? Just under 15 psi. So,
Yeah.
chat, that gives you kind of an idea of the types of pressure we're dealing with here.
14.7.
They used, you mentioned carbon fiber. You know why carbon fiber is such a wonderful material? Because its weight to strength ratio is really good, making it excellent for airplanes. Not excellent for things that need strength, tensile strength, to prevent you from being crushed. And just because it's encased in titanium doesn't mean it's going to not crumble. That's so dumb. I honestly, I haven't read anything about this, so to hear that video you just played, Harry, it's like,
Yeah.
boom, my
Yeah.
brain just exploded.
DrFunctional. I think that's probably what the 50-year-old white submariners would have probably told them.
And you know what? Those were my teachers.
Yeah. Why is it carbon fiber? Because
So-
carbon fiber's cool, man.
Yeah, well, fuck you.
Yeah. I got a spoiler on my Nissan Sentra that's made out of carbon fiber. No,
So it must be good.
I don't have either of those things.
They made a submarine out of carbon fiber. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. So I've
'Cause it
mentioned
sounds sexy. right?
It does. I've mentioned
sell it.
the show UFO a few times, and we'll end up talking about it properly at some point. But they have, in UFO, they have this, they're defending against the UFOs, and they have, as part of the show, this submarine, which has an airplane, like a rocket plane attached to it. And this is the stupidest thing you could possibly do. It's like the marriage of salt and slug. You can't having an airplane that's like connected to a submarine is just
Did you hear what he just
dumb.
said? A marriage of salt and slug?
Yeah, it's a forbidden romance.
Fucking hell, Harry.
It's not actually an original idea by me.
And you know what? If carbon fiber is good enough for 6,000 psi, what about 650 million psi? We can send this thing to Jupiter. and
Yeah,
it'll
what
be
about a
fine,
bajillion?
right?
Yeah, all the PSI, all the time.
All the
All the yeah, I don't think carbon fiber can survive more than 5 atmospheres of
Carbon
pressure.
fiber is extremely, extremely strong and durable if you use it the right way. Okay. The thing is, it has failure modes which are profound and terrible. It's just, there's just certain things you don't do. Like if you cut it or scratch it, that's a problem.
Seriously, where their knowledge gap was, and you kind of touched on it. It was about what they didn't understand. We understand how titanium behaves down there. Titanium does real well. Titanium's amazing. But if you are sandwiching something, and you're fitting something that has not been tested, as I understand it, that was never tested or anything close.
Sorry,
Oh, okay.
Frosted. The next sub will be made of Nokia phones.
Yeah. No, it's
my
rough. By the way, I can't take credit for the salt and slug thing.
That is.
I
Hold
will,
on.
I will say-
Cartoons that never made it.
Salt and slug, they are in love. Salt and slug.
One sodium chloride, the other's a bond. Salt and slug.
Salt and slug.
Salt and slug.
This is so horrifying.
It is.
Salt and slug.
Ooh, salt and slug.
Better than CalArts animation.
She's a mover and a shaker. Salt and slug.
Slug's much slower, except when she's eating tomatoes. Salt and slug.
Salt sometimes gets too excited.
Salt
What happens when they argue the salt just kills slug?
Trouble when slug starts to bubble. Salt and slug.
Love's in trouble when slug starts to bubble.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That got dark.
Okay.
Wait.
Where were we? We were here. Okay. Never mind.
I admire the notion,
Better.
the spirit of, like you said, what'd you call it?
Commercial
back
off the
hardware?
shelf.
Off the
In
shelf.
software, they would call it COTS, commercial off the shelf
Yeah.
software.
Off the
But
shelf, right.
it was a big thing in the
COTS.
government saying, "Hey, instead of that $10,000 spanner and that $20,000, toilet seat,
to
maybe we
hardware
could just go to Home Depot with a government credit card and buy something off the shelf." But it does not work at the lunatic fringes of performance.
Yeah. Because like the lunatic flat earther who built himself a rocket and blew himself up. Again, I admire the ingenuity, the gusto, the sort of spirit behind it. The guy was again, just like this, an idiot who didn't know the fundamentals of what he was doing because he essentially just strapped a bomb onto his back and blew himself up. But
At least he just killed himself.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. The guy who created the 30-year-old or whatever who created the nuclear reactor in his garage. Amazing. Like this is the type of stuff I want to see more of, just by people who know what the shit they're doing, as opposed to these people who have no idea what they're doing.
Well, they had some idea. They had enough idea to get to 7,000
Make it
feet.
airtight.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing that annoys me most about this story, because I don't really have a problem with people taking risks. It's like you're in international water. You want to take risks. You've signed the disclosure. Fine. Absolutely fine. I would not want there to be some UN thing that comes and, stands on everybody's neck and keeps people from doing this. As long as you have full disclosure and you sign the waiver, you take your chances. Fine. But the people who were trying to say, well, to imply that these people deserved to die because of some class thing. Oh, they're
that's gross.
just douchey rich people. And, I think this guy donated money to Trump or something, so he just deserves to die. It's like, what is wrong with you people?
Really?
Yeah, that's a thing that
but
actually happened.
From the standpoint of thumbing his nose at good design practices and advice, that he must have been exposed to.
Yeah.
And he said, no, screw you. And so, in terms of that, I don't really have a lot of sympathy for him.
Well, I just don't think trying to decide who's it's okay for certain people to die based on sort of class lines is pretty stupid.
No,
That's the only part I was
I-
defending. I mean, he was a moron for doing what he did. I think we all know that.
Yes, exactly.
And in hindsight,
That's what I mean.
definitely.
Yeah.
That's Dr. Darwin at work.
Yeah.
Dr. Darwin.
So I thought this was dark enough that we were going to need a palate cleanser, but after Salt and Slug, I just don't feel like I can. I feel like there's no place to go but down here. But I have this, and I've titled this topic "If Sora was an ocean biologist," or I should guess marine biologist.
Like George Costanza.
It's so cute. It is really
Look at that big old mouth. It's got like a little kind of a cartoonish mouth on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a snailfish.
Aw. Why are they called that?
Less teeth.
That I don't know.
Aw. Look at him. Look at it go.
How did you get to be so cute?
Is he gonna move them?
You're one of those ugly as cute people.
Yes. I'm with this. I'm with this girl.
It's a
cute.
Godzilla fish.
It's just kind of swimming around with it
sister.
halfway open.
It's a
And it's
little
showing us its
Godzilla
tummy,
fish.
almost like a puppy, like you just want to get a little tummy rub.
It has this little like
Thank you, Dan.
fin like
That's
thing.
the way the
Yep.
aliens get you.
Conjured the
close.
snailfish.
Yay!
I wouldn't survive with an alien invasion.
I feel like you
the
were
first to
separated
go.
at birth from that
Come
woman.
here, little alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, those big liquid eyes.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you're a spore vessel.
Pretty soon she's
Worth it.
eating dinner, and then all of a sudden a xenomorph pops out of her chest.
Should probably give that a thumbs up.
Worth it.
There we go. Thumbs up. All right. Well, let's see.
That is cute though.
It is actually kind of cute.
He just smiles. That is not one of your hated fish.
No, I
You
don't. I
can't
don't hate that
one.
fish. I mean, he's not particularly good at being a fish. He just sort of sits there and does nothing. But I mean, I can't aggressively hate everything in the ocean. I like to save my ire for things that are really annoying.
Like sunfish.
Well, like sunfish.
Or sturgeon when they're prime minister.
Okay, Geodes, I see the memes you just sent me, and I am not going to show those. So thank you, though.
Aw.
It's a bit much. But he sent me this thing about the coelacanth. He doesn't like coelacanths for some reason. And
They're good eating.
I kind of feel like any fish that's been around for a very long time. It's been around since the early Devonian. It's actually even older than sharks. This thing is such a relic. It's kind of amazing that it's survived as long as it has without, being extinctioned.
Chicken tastes like this. That's how old.
That's how old this is.
It's one of the only creatures on Earth older than Skep.
Well, I mean, remains to be proven, but sure.
We still haven't counted his rings yet.
Well, yeah, Skep's old enough he's forgotten that he's older than this fish. But yeah, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Coelacanth were running.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. What were we doing? We were talking about. There's so many things we could talk about. We could talk about this. House Republicans push off Biden impeachment bid for now as hard right clamors for action. More fair and balanced reporting from the Associated Press, I see. Also, Lauren Boebert is not an unattractive woman, but they have somehow managed to find a photo and an angle that makes her look really bad.
By design,
Yeah.
you know.
That takes
No
some
one
skill
looks great
from
on
that
this
angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks kind of weirdly Thurber-esque in a bad way.
That's a frame from
Yeah.
a video, and they literally will go through frame by frame looking for bad pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually have a theory, or that I've come up with. Well, it's not so much a theory as a system of measurement. I call it the Alton scale, because I noticed that when I would freeze on, like with TiVo or something, on a video with Alton Brown, a very high percentage of the time he ends up looking silly or ridiculous in the freeze frame. And so when I see somebody who tends to look ridiculous no matter, most of the time when you pause them, I rate them in terms of what fraction they are relative to Alton Brown. So it's kind of like, so far it's been like the warp thing, like you can't go faster than warp 10. I haven't found anybody who freeze frames in a weird way more often than Alton Brown. So 1 is the top of the scale right now.
Okay.
But I've actually gone
One-
through and
one Alton
I will pause videos of people when they come up this way. I've been searching for somebody who looks worse in freeze frames than Alton Brown, and so far, no. There have been a few people that have come close, but the Alton scale is my measurement of how likely somebody is to look ridiculous in a video freeze frame. I don't think that she's very high on the scale. At least I wouldn't expect so. This took some effort.
Oh,
but
no.
essentially, Marjorie Taylor Greene was trying to push some sort of impeachment vote because that's just something she wants to do. McCarthy doesn't really want to have anything to do with it because I think he's trying to show that the Republicans, unlike the Democrats, don't waste time on this kind of stuff when we should be doing our job. Excuse me.
I hope.
Well, I think it's such an obvious conclusion that I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But the AP's saying that, you know, Boebert pushed her thing through and she was a little more clever in terms of the mechanism by which she tried to propose this thing such that it would actually force a vote.
Okay.
And she ended up leapfrogging ahead of Marjorie Taylor Greene by 3 weeks in where the vote would end up, even though she introduced her bill afterward. And this annoyed Marjorie Taylor Greene a lot. And she said some rather unkind things about Lauren Boebert. So people are trying to turn this into some big cat fight. Honestly, this is just the AP ginning up the story. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think, I mean, I'm not even particularly sure I would say that Boebert is far right. She's just sort of right.
Harry,
I mean, right, isn't
it's
she?
Not like Harry.
Yeah.
It's not like there isn't a major scandal looming against the president of the United States. These guys are reaching for any shiny object they possibly can. This is they try to gin this up. It looks to me it may be close to out of whole cloth. This may be a complete fraud.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's possible.
Let me move something in the schedule here.
I mean, of the little I know of the
Harry
situation.
playing with time again.
Yeah, I always have to rearrange it based on what people are talking about. So this is what I just simply called No Friends for You. So where we're talking about scandals, now they're digging up something from 2009. So I guess Justice Alito went on a fishing trip to Alaska with a friend of his who's rich. He's gone several times, gone fishing with this guy. And in one occasion, some case did come before the court that he was sort of peripherally involved with, but not named in. And he didn't recuse himself. This is the best they could come up with. But they would just love to, A, distract, like Skep was talking about, and B, you know, if things really worked out, maybe they could give Biden an opportunity to appoint another outstanding Supreme Court justice.
You never know.
But you know how hard it is for somebody like this who's educated and connected and been in government in any form of it, not to know at least one or two people that have money and I mean,
That's ridiculous. Plus, you know, he likely went to school with these people. And
Yeah.
has known him for years, and they're just normal friends, and people see him while hanging out with all these ritzy guys, and believe me, that does not move these guys. That is not what makes them go to work in the morning.
No.
Nothing.
Now, if it was Harry, I'd be a little bit more skeptical because of Harry's clear and unabashed hatred of fish.
Yeah, if it was something
Sending
involving
Alito
fisheries
on a
yeah.
fishing trip to kill fish, and then he pushes forward some kind of a case in the Supreme Court that fish don't have human rights, then there might be some. But this doesn't seem like it seems like a nothing burger.
You just said fish don't have human rights.
Yeah,
they don't. They don't.
And I'm going to stand by that.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Now, I could see them talking on the airplane on the way there. That would happen. But when you're fishing, you don't talk about crap like that. That's not how fishing works.
Yeah, that's
the opposite.
Works.
That's how to never be invited fishing again. You don't talk shop while you're fishing.
Exactly. Like, you don't talk about work. You don't talk about your wife. You don't talk about anything like that. You just, yep. Uh-huh.
Ideally, you talk very little. You keep quiet. I mean,
hanging out with the boys and catching fish.
I mean, when you're done fishing,
Just two friends hanging out together on a trip.
It's redneck meditation.
No implications whatsoever.
Oh, you're
very
trying to do a Brokeback Mountain thing?
Yeah.
Just a couple of guys, standing around in their waders and nothing else, eating pudding in the mountains.
Yep. Hey, want another hot dog?
What happens while fishing
Can you
stays
fit another hot
while you're
dog
fishing.
in?
Yeah.
Whatever happens in the lake stays in the lake.
Okay, I don't like where this is going.
Sorry.
That's fine.
You should be.
I really don't care. Let's see, what's chat up to? Let's check in on chat. Somebody keeping an eye on chat other than just me?
Kind of.
I'm saying hi to people.
Please. Okay. Kagan was a lobbyist for Obamacare. Yeah. This is such a nothing burger, it's hard to even work up any head of steam at all over it. It's just like, it really, is this the best you can do? 2009, a fishing trip?
Exactly.
Seriously? Well, there was supposedly a $1,000 bottle of wine there, but he says that he didn't actually drink any of it, which I believe in the same sense that I believe that Bill Clinton didn't inhale when they were passing pot around.
Exactly.
But I also don't care. I also don't care.
And he did not have sex with that woman, Miss
Sexual
Lewinsky.
relations.
No.
Sexual relations.
No, it
with that
depends
woman,
on the
Miss
definition
Lewinsky.
of what is, Skep.
Right. Yeah.
If the glove does not fit, you must acquit.
It just depends how big a weasel you actually are.
Well, let's see. In this new section, which I'm just calling the Naked King's Son, whistleblowers say IRS recommended far more charges, including felonies against Hunter Biden. I know. I was surprised too. The story has been played out. This is even in CNN. I mean, even CNN isn't trying to pretend that this sort of stuff didn't happen. But we've got multiple, IRS whistleblowers who have testified to the fact that, if this guy was pretty much anybody else, there would have been multiple felonies that were filed. One of the stories that has come up is this one.
Hunter Biden reportedly deducted tens of thousands of dollars in payments he made to a prostitute and a sex club from his taxes. This is all according to an IRS whistleblower and their testimony to Congress. So that means that we have not seen physical proof of this yet.
Now, as a person who owns their own business, I have deducted entertainment expenses on my tax return, but never anything quite like that. It's like you go to dinner with somebody. You go to dinner with somebody, you talk about business, and then you take a copy of the receipt and then you write on the back who it was, what the date was, and what you talked about. And then you scan that, and then you don't worry about it unless you get audited. You get to deduct half of that. Now, I suppose it's possible in Hunter Biden's particular business that maybe those girls weren't for him. Maybe those were for his business associates. Maybe it was like some people provide like a fruit basket or like a gift box or something, right? You know, that's got like little soaps and potpourri and whatever you give to people, right? You know, in his case, it was just strippers showing up at their door. Maybe wearing a Carmen Miranda hat that was edible. Maybe that was it. I don't know.
Edible arrangement.
It was like an edible arrangement. I don't know. But it's not beyond the realm of possibility that he might have done something like that.
Don't they have those like eat sashimi off of naked girls or something? It
They
was in an
do.
episode of CSI Las Vegas back in the day.
I
so
believe that is a
probably
thing that
that.
exists and it's not an urban legend.
So maybe it's that, right? Again, that's like eating dinner.
Yeah.
With business partners.
I mean, it could be an entertainment expense, but I mean, there are certain things that you're not supposed to write off, like bribes. You don't get to write off bribes as a business expense, right, Skep? Even if even internationally, you can't.
You have to disguise them artfully.
Yeah.
It's run it through a cutout or exchange gifts.
You have to go through one of the many different ways that people avoid detection on these things. But you can't literally just write hookers and then, $6,000 on it.
No. Yeah.
I know I've shown this in the past, but I have to show this again because it is one of my favorite things of all time.
Oh, we do. We're really lonely.
Oh, sure, this transaction looks innocent enough. The truth is, these advertising executives plan to bill their client for these young ladies' services.
But TDA Advertising and Design is different. At TDA, we never bill our prostitutes to your account.
Advertising and Design,
where the client is never billed for prostitutes.
Okay, well, anyway.
I love it so much.
Back to the story at hand.
Oh, that made me happy.
I mean, on the one hand, I guess I'm of two minds of this. Setting aside the hypocrisy of it, the fact that we have a tax code that is such a minefield that if they decide to go after almost anybody whose life isn't just, here's your W-2, you don't own any property,
right.
all your, unless you have the simplest possible life, I mean, so uncomplicated, they have the ability to throw just about anybody they want in jail for almost as long as they want, if they're motivated.
That's right.
You have to be basically
that
Trump
should
rich to
be-
hire the people to keep you out of jail if they want to put you in jail.
That should be unconstitutional because that is a law or a set of laws that, by definition, by the way that they are implemented, cannot be adjudicated justly and equitably. If you can't have an equitable adjudication of your rules, you, according to our rules, you can't have that law. That's a non-law. That's not part of being a law. It means it has to be able to be enforced.
But they have a lot of motivation not to do anything about it, Skep. And that's the problem because anything can go through if nobody challenges it. And I think they kind of like the system the way it is. Once the other team's in charge, then they can use the same tax code to terrorize their opponents.
Here's what I actually think is going to be the result of all this nonsense. If the Democrats aren't careful, they're going to elect Trump. They're going to put Trump back in office. If that happens and he gets one or both houses, which he probably will, he'll probably get both of them. If that happens, God help them. God help the Bidens. Trump is a vindictive son of a gun. He will come after them hammer and tong.
Yeah, the only reason Hillary Clinton didn't go to jail is because I think Trump was made to understand that that's not what we do in this country. Because based on the stuff that was in that FBI report about her email server, I read that. Like I said, I read that whole freaking thing, and I am technically qualified to have written that report. I can read it. This is
certainly render a expert judgment on it.
And I read this thing, and if any one of us accidentally deleted 30,000 emails that were under subpoena, we would never see daylight again.
Yeah, I was going to say they'd have to pack daylight in by noon, where they'd put you in a hole so deep.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I think the point I'm trying to make is I mean, Hunter Biden may have done a whole bunch of other stuff that's wrong. Okay, some of the stuff that's supposedly, oh wait, like I rigged something up. Where are you?
Did you build it with carbon fiber?
But
no, I already screwed it up.
The fact that Hunter Biden might have done all this stuff wrong.
Yeah, but I actually kind of, instead of going after him more, I almost wish they'd take a lot of the people that they've just railroaded and let them out of jail. Mm-hmm. How about instead of putting more pressure on him, let's just let some of these other people who've been, I mean, many people who are in jail for no particularly good reason, let's let them out instead.
Yep.
I'd actually rather see it done in the other direction.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a one-or, then yeah, but I'd like to see both. I don't like seeing people just because they're in positions of power or adjacent to people in positions of power skirt the law like this.
I would
the
like
law's the law.
Yeah.
If you don't like the law, then you change the law. You petition to change unjust or unethical laws.
Normalize.
But if you're breaking the law,
normalize the sentences. Either bring everybody down to his sentence or bring him up to the average. I don't really care which, but it needs to be fair. And I just as soon see a lot of people who got railroaded let out early.
Because I'm actually in favor of decriminalization of prostitution for various reasons. Not going to get into it, but he broke the law, and then he continued to break the law by writing it off as a tax break. So, to me, that's actionable or should be actionable.
Yeah, he willfully filed his return with mistakes in it. There's like no way in hell. Yeah, most accountants will kind of tell you, oh, well, this is a deduction. There's no problem. This is kind of a gray area, but I think you should take it. And if something comes up on audit, we'll just pay the fine. But since it's a gray area, you're still okay. You're not going to go to jail over this. And a good accountant will tell you that.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that there's an accountant in the world who said, yeah, Hunter, you're good. Just hookers and blow. Just write that off. That's. So where do I put that? Next to the bottled water for the office? Yeah, just put it right there. So
next to the bottled water under the crack pipe.
So chafing ointment, lube, hookers, bottled water, staples, just all of that. Just put it on your Schedule C. It'll be fine. Okay, let's see. What were we doing next? Where do we want to go from here? Oh, yes. Sorry about that. I actually almost forgot. So I was thinking about the whole, you're president and you have embarrassing relatives, because this is not the first time in my life that I've encountered this particular phenomenon. And the one that comes to mind immediately, as Jean-Pierre would say, top of mind, is Billy Carter. Billy Carter, redneck power broker. When his brother was elected president in 1976, Billy Carter gleefully turned his life into a national joke. He was Jimmy Carter's drunken sibling who bragged about smoking pot at the White House and urinating in public. He actually sold his own brand of beer called Billy Beer. And he would drink a lot of beer and enjoy it. So one time he got off a plane and he relieved himself on the tarmac because he couldn't hold it to get inside the terminal because he drank too much beer. He's sort of famous for this kind of stuff.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, so you got to do what you got to do. So he had a gas station in Plains, Georgia, where he was swigging beer, holding court for reporters. And he was on Donahue and on Good Morning America. He actually appeared as a guest on Hee Haw a few times, which is hilarious. So we have Billy Carter on Hee Haw standing in the cornfield telling jokes with, Buck Owens and the dudes. He said, as he said, I got a mother who went into the Peace Corps at age 68. I got a sister who's a holy roller preacher. I got another sister who rides motorcycles and wears helmets. I got a brother who thinks he's going to be president of the United States, he told reporters. I'm the only sane one in this family, he said, bragging that he could drink 25 beers, but not every day. Carter leveraged his celebrity into an array of products, including Billy Beer and his first book, Redneck Power, The Wit and Wisdom of Billy Carter, while charging $5,000 for personal appearances. Yeah.
But Jimmy didn't have. Did Jimmy do anything with this, or was it just
Well,
he was an embarrassment?
he was just an embarrassment, and they were trying to do damage control.
Oh, okay.
But President
So
Carter
nothing illegal, but
had a
just-
harder time explaining Billy's actions when the first brother accepted a $200,000 loan from the Libyan government and had to register as an agent for the rogue nation.
Part of the problem was the crew that was trying to mop that up were all of the local Georgia mafia that Carter brought with him. Carter didn't keep around any of the experienced Washington hands who habitually help and make Democrat politicians successful. He chopped the head off that snake. He brought in Hamilton, Jordan, and Jody Powell and that lot, and they handled things a certain way, unfortunately a politically tone deaf way that got them in trouble and eventually got them unelected.
Can you read the highlighted paragraph, Sora?
Oh no, I can't. It is very tiny.
Oh.
Hold on.
Here,
Now
I'll
it
make it
can. Wait,
bigger.
no, I got it.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it helps if I don't do this. I screwed everything up. There we go.
There you go. There it is.
Don't do that. Okay. All right. So when his brother lost his bid for re-election, Billy remained unapologetic. I think I helped Jimmy as much as I hurt him. He said, certainly I didn't hurt him enough to lose 44 states.
Say what you will about Billy Carter. He at least had a sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know, he understood his place in history.
He got in trouble with the IRS.
Well, I found a few other ones. I guess I had completely forgotten about Nixon's brother.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so there were problems. So let's see. In the mid-1950s, Donald Nixon dreamed of slapping the family name on a chain of fast food restaurants. The would-be Burger King ended up borrowing $205,000 from Howard Hughes, a disclosure that might have damaged his brother's 1962 run for the governor of California. President Nixon wasn't taking any chances in 1972 when he was running for re-election, and it was later revealed that he ordered the Secret Service to wiretap his brother's phone. Nixon's presidency turned into a political chopped meat, but he couldn't blame his brother. And then there was Roger Clinton. It's not hard to guess why the Secret Service code name for President Clinton's half-brother was Headache.
That is pretty funny.
When Bill was serving as governor of Arkansas, Roger spent a year in state prison for cocaine trafficking and later described himself as having a walk-in closet full of skeletons. Yeah, I think he got pardoned. Nice. He got pardoned by Bill, didn't he? Yeah. In his final days in office, President Clinton pardoned his brother on the cocaine charges and wiped his slate clean. Yeah, good times.
Convenient.
And Sam Houston, I guess many White House scribes say it probably wasn't love that drove Lyndon B. Johnson to make a place for his brother at the White House. The president's staff worked overtime to keep his brother out of sight, and most everyone agrees it was no easy job. Sam Houston Johnson, 8 years younger than his brother, was a self-described problem drinker and was said to leak damaging information to the press while carousing. Yeah.
Sam Houston Johnson was a problem. Lyndon Johnson was a problem drinker. Sam Houston Johnson was a professional drinker.
Professional drinker?
Yeah, he lost his amateur status. He was so good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He took it to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, effectively one of these people, you know, very much like I was, drunk, you know, most waking hours.
But to make a long story short, it's not the first time something like this has happened. However, this is the first time in my memory, well, other than the Clinton Foundation and all of that allegedly stuff, it really is something new that the misbehaving and the embarrassment seems to be tied to potential personal gain. Now, the thing that came out today was there was some sort of text message that was sent to a Chinese official where they were claiming, Hunter was claiming that his father was in the room while he was sending it, and that this guy better get in line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Z, my father is sitting here, and everybody he knows is going to hate you forever if you don't give us that money.
yeah, I mean, unpopular take. You know, you don't necessarily have. He doesn't have to be in the room. I mean, it doesn't actually prove anything. It just proves that Hunter claimed he was in the room.
Yeah. Right.
Now, Hunter may have been leveraging his family name, but tying that back to Joe Biden is going to be a lot harder. I mean, if we're being fair about it. If you follow the money and you see that $5 million lands in his dad's account, you know, that proves something. But Hunter just making some claim about his dad being in the room while he's sending out threatening text messages doesn't prove anything.
Absolutely not.
It's like the
That's absolutely right.
It's like the most recent Trump tape where he's like, "I got these papers," and everybody's like, "Oh, look! He's got secret information." No, it was the sound of paper.
Mhm.
You have to have facts.
There's no
you
there
have to
there.
have facts
Facts.
that you can verify.
Mhm.
Or you can have anything that amounts to evidence.
Yeah, if he'd sent that with an associated picture of him standing next to his dad, holding the phone with the paper with the date on
in a
it, you know,
Zoom-
some sort
in
of
a
proof
Zoom
of life
call
thing,
with
yeah,
an
that would be
embedded.
different. But just a text message, you know,
Negative.
yeah, no, it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So
I've got Uncle Ben and Jolly Green Giant here.
another thing that sort of popped into my awareness is a few weeks ago, there was this from the Lotus Eaters.
So being rich in London, it just sounds awful.
Being in London sounds awful.
I mean, really, that's it. I mean, being rich anywhere else on the planet, I think, is pretty good. I mean, you know, it's got its ups.
The gist of this is they were talking about this guy who had like $1 million house that was built. I mean, it was a condominium townhouse, and the whole thing is just a mess. You know, the wall, it's practically falling down. It just needs to be torn down and rebuilt. It's built to such a low standard. And this
it's $1 million.
Yeah, and it's $1 million. So and not only is it $1 million, but it's in a development that has a homeowner's HOA fee thing that's thousands of dollars a year that they have no control over. And there seems to be some quid pro quo going on between the housing authority and the people who sell the insurance. Like they were buying this massively inflated insurance and then kicking back a huge portion of it to the board for the HOA. I mean, it's just cursed. It's not that this house is bad. It's just the house and the HOA
People are bad.
and all of it is just cursed. Okay. But, you know, the problem exists here as well. You know, it's not just an England thing.
Building your dream home or your retirement home. Plenty of people went after that goal back in 2021 when interest rates were low and people were flocking to the valley.
But homeowners throughout the valley in these brand new homes say they are dealing with ongoing problems.
Fox's Lauren Martinez spoke to these homeowners about these headaches.
Buying a new home build is not as easy as following a blueprint to build it. In August, we introduced you to a man who moved into his new home in May. The cosmetic issues, like some of the doors not closing smoothly or the right appliances installed, resonated with a lot of viewers.
Look at that
We received
craftsmanship.
messages from homeowners across the valley that shared their own stories
Nice.
of
Look, Cock will
purchasing a
fix that
brand
right
new
up.
home and
Hey.
discovering issues.
Just cock it.
I couldn't
what do
tell
you
you the
need
number of
moldings
items.
for?
There's pages full, at least 6 pages full.
All
Mike and
needs a
Olivia
couple coats of paint.
Yeah, and not to have you watch this entire thing. It's all fine and dandy until you're in the desert and it suddenly starts to rain. And then you find out that your roof is really not much of a roof.
The critters are coming in holes in your wall.
And the water is coming in. And I think in this one case, they had like a 30-foot long crack that developed in the drywall and the ceiling. Yeah, after one good rain.
Wow.
So not only are new houses terrible because I hate them because I'm a mid-century bigot, but in a lot of instances they seem to be really poorly made. I mean,
They're crap.
but your contribution to the Canadian contribution is guys like Mike Holmes, and half of what Mike Holmes does is wandering around finding all the builder grade shit that's not worth living in.
Yeah.
And people say, well, what's the solution to housing? We got to build more homes. It's like, well, do we still know how? Are we building them better or worse than the submarine that imploded? I mean, it seems like we have a general problem with quality and workmanship, especially in new home builds.
And especially, it seems that the common sort of denominator here is in places that need large developments, so cities and surrounding areas, because we don't get these stories from new home developments that are in more rural areas.
Like Prospero's new place.
Like,
I mean,
was
it went
just
pretty
gonna
well.
say, that entire development, just like, I saw the pictures, she gave me updates, and it sounded solid.
Yeah.
I hear horror stories from friends of mine who are in my age range, mid-30s to mid-40s, and the new homes that they're buying just outside of Toronto, the new condos in Toronto, these problems, pages and pages and pages of stuff. And to top that off, it's not just home buyers, it's rental properties that are falling below code, and nobody seems to give a shit. And I wonder why. I wonder if it's possibly because people are getting paid to look the other way. That last part is just my theory behind it, but
well, I can tell you because we have issues here. There was a very expensive building built that's very fancy, and sort of through the grapevine, I discovered a Twitter account who basically has listed photos and photos and photos and photos of everything that was wrong. They never finished putting in the electrical, like capping off electrical wires in the basement levels. There's cracks already on the paneling, the marble paneling that's on the outside of the building. There's unfinished, what are they called? The unfinishing of the glass sort of that's on the balconies, I guess, like the glass trim or whatever, all of these stuff. And this is a huge, it's like 60 stories or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, for years it was toted. And apparently they're like usual, you get the initial, here the problem is everyone buys before anything is even built, right? So you've got the initial 3D renderings, which is this beautiful lobbies or whatever. And once the building is made, you've gone through so many layers of corruption because of the development companies here are so garbage that you have nothing that was promised you, but you've already purchased. And you can't sell because by the time you're ready to move in, it's such a mess that the only thing you can do is you can go to court, and good luck because you're never going to get far.
It's like catfishing.
yeah. I mean, it's like buying a new car and then driving off the lot and the engine falls out.
It's a developer monopoly here for like the really, really big companies, and not one is better than the other. So
can you really use cats as bait?
Yeah.
Sure.
Catfishing?
It depends on the fish.
Can I use you as bait?
Sharks?
Yeah. I mean, it probably won't work on a snailfish, but a sunfish would probably go for a cat, I think.
They like the squishy ones.
Cats like the sun.
Jellyfish.
Yeah.
They're like a little pussy.
Yeah.
Oh my.
We're gonna go Mrs. Slocum. Did you ever see that? Was it Are You Being Served? Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you being served?
Mrs. Slocum.
She talks to her pussy on the phone.
Yes. Well, reach out and touch someone. That was okay. So it's not just my imagination. It does seem to happen pretty much everywhere. I did actually want to mention this. This was built a few years ago, but I consider this to be a new build.
The so-called fix for the Millennium Tower is moving into the final phase to support the building on the side it's tilting the most.
NBC Bay
You're gonna
Area
love
investigative
this.
reporter Jackson Vanderbecken tells us it's happening just in time because early signs of the tilt reversing on that side didn't last long.
Investigation.
The Millennium Tower is now tilting more than 29 inches at the northwest corner. Back in
The Leaning
January,
Tower of
engineers
San
announced they
Francisco?
had successfully reversed some of that tilt, by supporting
some
part of
guys
the
up
tower with steel piles sunk down to bedrock along Mission Street.
Yeah, that'll fix
the
it.
The next phase involves supporting the tower on the west side.
The next
by
phase
transferring more of the
involves a
tower's
skyhook
weight
and a
to
giant roll
12
of duct tape.
piles already sunk along Fremont Street. The goal is to provide more support to
You got to put
stabilize the
WD-40
tower,
on the
which
side that's
officials
high
had
and duct
credited
tape
with
on the
starting
side that's
to
low.
reverse its tilt toward the west.
But that success, it turns out, has been short-lived, and the building.
I mean, do you have a conception of how much money we're talking about here? I mean,
You're talking about many billions of dollars.
this is like an oopsie that's the size of a GDP for many countries. This is like
this
huge.
Big. This is big even for San Francisco.
Because it seems like we used to build things. No, in terms of those home building shows, there's that scrappy little blonde woman from the Detroit area who goes around rebuilding homes. She had multiple seasons on HGTV back when I used to have cable. And she ended up buying a house that was built by her grandparents. And by built by, I mean her grandparents built the house. That was a thing that people used with their hands.
Right.
And they weren't trained builders. They would just go to the library, they'd get information, they'd talk to friends, and then they would just build a house. They would build part of it, and then they would add more, and they would lay concrete. And even with the mistakes that they would make, these houses are still in one piece, generations later. But we have brand new things built with the latest in space age materials, using what I like to lovingly call architectural styrofoam, and paint and caulk, and somehow that's like a system. We don't need to use good plywood. We'll just put a membrane over it and then put a bunch of nails through it and then wonder why the roof leaks.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I had my roof replaced, I was such a pain in the ass. You have no idea.
The building equivalent of building a submarine with carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Again, I hate to keep harping on this, but it's at least true in my neck of the woods. A lot of these materials come from a certain place in the world known for cheap, substandard materials. We buy a lot of our building materials now from China, which is so bloody odd because we have the largest supply of timber for any country in the world. Why is Canada buying wood and concrete from the other side of the planet when we have more than enough? We could not exhaust our supply of these materials if we tried. If we developed Canada coast to coast, we might be able to come close to depleting it because we'd cut it all down to build on top of it. But like my point is, there's nothing about this makes sense. You follow the money. None of these stages make sense because, like you said, we're using air quotes the latest in steel and concrete and all these technologies which they have developed over the years. There is more durable concrete than there potential for a more durable concrete than there was 100 or 50 years ago.
Ironically, not as good in many respects as 2,000 years ago.
But they're not using it. Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting paid and the consumers are getting hosed for it.
Psst, Harry.
Yes.
If you want a bit of a ha-has,
I'd
there's a
love
link
one.
in the private chat since I feel it's relevant to the Leaning Tower of San Francisco.
Let's see.
And that's true too, Jack. I mean, a lot of the modern architecture is very sterile and plain and just horrific. I think we a little bit of traditional masonry.
Nice.
All right, let's check this out.
The upright towers of Pisa.
It's the byline of
Quietly celebrating competence. Yeah. You build one tower that's
It's one of
leaning.
my favorite T-shirts.
And these people just won't let it go.
You had one job.
Yeah. I like the fact that it's the color of Doctor Who's TARDIS. That's really nice. I mean, Tom Baker's TARDIS. That's good.
Can you build a level building? You absolutely will be stable. Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. That's all they had to get right.
Yep. That's all. You had one job. All right. Let's see. So let's see. Being rich is terrible.
They want to here in Southern Ontario, they want to start building on marshland, and I'm just like,
Good luck. Have fun.
why?
Yeah,
It's
that's
okay.
right.
They did that here.
Because it's there. I know they did. It's so dumb.
We built a castle in the swamp, and it fell down and sank into the swamp. And then we built a second castle.
Right.
And then it caught fire and fell down and sank into the swamp. But the third castle, it stayed. Sorry, Holy Grail.
Yeah.
She's got great tracts of land. Okay. Let's see. Do I want to talk about this or not? Well, I'll put this off.
What?
You guys know about this whole situation? I assume the Russia-Ukraine potential civil war thing that happened today, right? Is this anybody not familiar with this situation?
I'm not.
Not in detail, but my phone's been blowing up, like the news apps about it.
Yeah. Well, the précis is that the Wagner Group is a huge private army, which has been they're ruthless. I mean, terribly, terribly ruthless. And as a result, they're one of the few things that's been really effective, in the Russian campaign against Ukraine. According to Konstantin Kisin, and he seems like he has a pretty good handle on these things, the reason these private armies exist in Russia is so that they can go out and do things, sort of like, what's the, not Black something? I can't remember the name of the...
Black Ops?
BlackRock?
BlackRock.
I don't know.
Not BlackRock. I'm thinking of the mercenary group.
Oh, Vanguard?
No, doesn't matter. But we have private mercenary groups in the U.S. And when you want you want to have things happen without your government having direct culpability, sort of from a friend of a friend thing. It's like it'd be really nice if you'd go do us a solid and help this person, Blackwater, and help this person not get deposed, that kind of stuff. So the Russians do the same thing, and they have things like the Wagner Group, which is this huge private army. They took some friendly fire not that long ago, and what they seemed to have been doing was going back to Moscow to essentially mutiny. Not so much a coup, but just sort of go after the military people higher ups that may have instigated this thing.
They were going to go after the senior general as a supposedly as a service to Putin.
Yeah, and Putin would take this not too well because, of course, these are people that work for him.
Yeah, no, Putin would not like this at all because Putin is kind of I'm in control and you're not the guy.
There's not enough lipstick on the world to turn this story into something that doesn't look that looks good to Putin.
Nope.
Yeah, because he's not stupid.
No, he's not. And he's ruthless and absolutely merciless.
Doesn't it strike you as weird the way the Russian government and the military almost sounds and feels like ancient Rome?
Oh yeah.
I mean, as opposed to to us, this is totally foreign.
Parallels.
Yeah.
See a lot of parallels. It's right down to the tragic emperor figure.
Yeah, and if you're an emperor and you don't want to get shivved, you have to be ruthless and paranoid.
Yeah, his fatal flaw is, his strength is that he's paranoid. That's what's kept him alive, but it's also his fatal flaw.
Yeah.
And it's doing him in as he gets crazier and more paranoid and makes worse and worse judgments. This is eventually someone is going to detect weakness at the right time, and we're suddenly going to have a different president.
I think people are just waiting for his health to give out, because why take on a fight that for a problem? The problem's going to fix itself from their perspective.
Exactly.
They just need to try to minimize the damage from his poor choices.
Yep.
Yeah. But it was a weird morning. You wake up in the morning, it's like, oh, there's a potentially civil war in Russia. Excuse me?
Should be
and
fun.
then as the day goes on, it's like, oh, well, as the day goes on, you get to hear.
Oh, and welcome to a very special
I like
live
trigonometry,
episode of
by the way.
Trigonometry, where we're going to be examining and analyzing everything that is happening in Russia at the moment. We will also be taking your questions as well. So if you've got questions, send us a super chat, send us a PayPal, and in
Yeah,
the
send
second
us
half
money.
of the interview, we'll be feeding your questions to Konstantin and we'll be discussing them. So that is your chance to ask Konstantin questions all about what is happening. But I'm Francis Foster.
I'm Konstantin Kissen. That was smooth, mate.
Yeah.
Your intro sounded like it was a little bit in slow motion. But anyway, here we are.
Yeah, indeed.
We should probably announce that actually, I mean, if people were tuning in to find out about the terrible emergency coup, as we speak, the guy who's orchestrating the coup has just said he's turning his troops around. So you can switch off, basically.
So that was pretty much my day. It started with civil war in Russia. Turn on the YouTubes, start listening to this, find out that it stopped before it began. You know, this is a little like walking in and out of cold water. It's just, it's like, I have trouble keeping up with this. So should I be worried, Skep? Should I be concerned about the position of the doomsday clock? Or do you think this is a giant nothing burger?
This is a giant nothing burger. This is just the instability of the region manifesting itself. It's just how it looks this week. And it's going to shift around. There are some power centers that are not evident to the Western press. That much is evident to me because I don't think we're getting anywhere close to the real story of what's coming out of there. We get a lot of fragmented views, and everybody says they're winning. But in truth, I think it's a very complicated, very fragmented situation there.
Well, they were about 100, I think like 150 kilometers from Moscow when they decided to turn around and go the other way. As a way of making a point, this seems like kind of a dangerous one. Because you might get the old polonium handshake.
Yeah. That's insane. It's insanely risky thing to try, especially somebody like Putin.
So it's hard to write this off as a complete nothing burger given what the stakes are, because usually you wouldn't put yourself in that kind of risk.
It's a nothing burger now because I think they backed away from the brink.
Yeah, I don't think Putin might view this as backing away, but he's probably already working on 50 different ways to screw these guys.
Oh, yeah. And one of them, I guarantee you, involves the tactical.
The only people that are actually making headway in Ukraine are the Wagner Group guys. That's the problem. So he wants to make progress in Ukraine, but at the same time, he views the Wagner Group guys as a threat to his power. So he has conflicting motivations right now, it would seem to me.
Well, as does Wagner. Wagner wants to make the customer happy, but Wagner also makes money from war. So customer wants war ended in customer's favor. Wagner says, no, we make money while we fight. You know, they're making unconscionable amounts of money.
Well, I mean, you think it's the labor theory of value. They should just slow play it and they'll get more money. Because I think there's probably a big cash payout at the end of this if they win. At least that's how I'd structure the contract. Because I would not write that contract you were talking about. If I was Putin, I would not go for it. You know, cost plus is not the way to go on this. You know, here's your performance fee. Here's your award fee.
Right. No.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we don't have to talk about this anymore. So back to San Francisco momentarily, because everything is great in San Francisco.
We turn now to San Francisco, a major mall downtown pulling out of the city, citing sharply declining sales,
Another one.
fewer shoppers, and more. And it is the latest in a series of companies pulling out of San Francisco, and another blow to one of the largest urban economies in the country. Our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, is there with more. Good morning, Matt.
Yeah, it's right by Union Square.
Hey, good morning, Rebecca. There's concern that San Francisco could turn into a so-called zombie city with its downtown hollowed out by a fentanyl epidemic, pervasive homelessness, and fleeing retailers. And you just mentioned that last significant hit, the biggest mall in the city, right in downtown, is leaving.
This morning, a San Francisco mall at the epicenter of a growing real estate dead zone in a major American city, battling rise.
So they have basically decided it is cheaper. Residency is down 55% from a year ago.
Holy shit.
They've decided that Westfield is a big mall operator, and what they're just going to do is they're just going to give it to the bank. Here, bank, we owe you a bunch of money on this. Be our guest, and they're just going to give them. They're just here.
So do you think that housing prices are going to come down as a result of this? Because let me tell you something. In a lot of places, they won't. And I'll tell you why. There will be an artificial amount of time that the speculators, the long-term speculators, will hold real estate at value and not trade it, to avoid a change in valuation.
Well, at least they don't have the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What those people consider 10 years to be a short-term interval. The way they think in terms of 30, 40, 50 years. They really do. These long-term speculators, the ones who do the longitudinal buys in commercial real estate development.
Yeah.
Those are. It's amazing how they put that stuff together. It's highly technical, and yes, there's a lot of math.
Well, it might. Now, I've mentioned in the past that I don't think London Breed, the current mayor of San Francisco, is a complete idiot.
No.
I think
scoundrel, yes. Idiot, no.
Well, I'm even on the scoundrel scale. I don't think she's as bad as a lot of them compared to Bass in L.A.
Oh, well, no, come on.
Yeah, I'm willing to give London Breed sort of the benefit of the doubt. Here's another story. Just take a look at this.
San Francisco sheriff's deputies are usually tasked with working.
Coincidentally,
in cities,
this is
and
from
working
about
in
the
other
same time as
city
the
and
mall
county
closing,
buildings, while
or being
SFPD
given up
tackles
on.
crime on the streets. But today, the sheriff's office announced its deputies will be focusing on something new.
So while it's an unpopular stance to take, arresting and putting people in jail, it can be a critical gateway to help the needs to be a part of the multi-pronged approach.
Our Jose Martinez is live.
Yes, they're going to arrest drug dealers in San Francisco. They're going to start actually ratcheting things up on dealing with the drug problem. It's finally starting, I hope. I'm being careful not to get too excited about this because, it is an issue. And just to give you a brief sample of what London Breed is dealing with, because you know how bad this fentanyl thing is, just tons of people dying, and it is destroying the city because the businesses are leaving. The people they're afraid to even go to work downtown. So here's an exchange which I think you'll find interesting.
Over the last week, our police and sheriff have worked in coordination to make arrests for those who are posing a danger to themselves or others and who are disrupting our neighborhoods. As of yesterday, 38 people have been arrested or cited under this effort. Some say what we are doing is very controversial, but if it was happening in front of your home, would you feel like it's controversial? If your kids had to walk through this, if your family members had to deal with this every single day, if it was happening outside of your business, would you feel that it's controversial? It would feel necessary and urgent, and it is.
To be clear, the city's overdose prevention plan, as I mentioned, written by DPH and endorsed by you, specifically noted that, quote, Black, brown, and indigenous communities nationwide have long been impacted by and continue to be impacted by the racism and criminalization that have been the hallmark of federal U.S. drug policy for the past several decades. Will you follow your own Department of Public Health's advice and end punitive policies specifically arresting and incarcerating drug users that increase fatal overdoses, or will you ramp up these strategies, ignoring the advice of public health experts and causing even more overdoses?
You're going to like her response.
Mayor Breed. Here we go, another white man who's talking about black and brown people as if you're the savior of those people and you speak for them.
Right to race.
I have a sister that I lost to a drug overdose in this city. I have friends and family members who have been lost in the Tenderloin with no
Great.
aggressive action,
Answer
no
the
changes
question.
to policies. Have
You
you
have
ever spent
no-
time talking to any of those same black and brown people who
I
are
have so much for
addicted
you.
to drugs on our streets in
So
San
much
Francisco to understand their challenges and what they need and what we need to do as a city to turn their lives around?
Mom and
That is
apple
the
pie,
focus of
mom
what
and
I
apple
plan to
pie.
do, regardless of what you read or what you see.
Well, but she's
Don't
still
you like
talking about.
puppies? Don't you like kittens?
But she's still talking about letting the cops go in there and start trying to do something about the damn drug problem, because this guy doesn't want to do anything about it except give them homes and sites with Narcan to shoot up in.
Sites with Narcan.
Yeah, no, they do. They
I can
have.
tell you, this is just—it's going to get worse.
Oh, it certainly is, because
Our
I don't
downtown
think
is
she can
destroyed
fix it.
because of this.
Do you don't know about
Good
the
luck.
sites with Narcan, Skep?
Pardon me?
They have safe drug sites where you can shoot up with your drugs, and there'll be med techs standing by, and if you overdose, they'll hit you with Narcan. That's what this guy. That's what that white dude wants to do. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
So-
off there.
I'm Sora.
I said Sora.
You said Serenity.
Did I say Serenity? I'm tired. Don't pick on me. I'm sorry.
So these safe injection sites, we have them all over downtown. They're just they destroy the whole area where they're put up.
Describe what they look like.
It's just like a little building, or like it'll be the shop front, right?
Okay. Yeah, like a storefront. Yeah.
A storefront, and inside is the safe injection place,
Mhm.
and you wouldn't realize it's there unless you see like the little sandwich board or whatever
It's like
the
a little
sign for it.
doctor's office.
Exactly. And then, but how you know it's there is because all around it, around the sound of the building, the back of the building, on the street, is people actively shooting up at any time of the day. There is no more hiding in the back alley, in the dirty doorways where you can't be seen by
They can
everybody.
be proud. Be loud and be
They
proud.
are, yeah. And there is people who are actively contacting police, contacting the city and whatever. And of course, they're being ignored, and the police kind of don't really pay attention. They come enough to make sure that it's a minimal effort to keep them sort of on the sidewalk. But, you know, you can't take your kids out in that area and everything. And to the people who complain, other people are saying, well, that's because you're a NIMBY and you have money, so what do you care? You know, you're just trying to walk all over poor people. That's the argument. Not the fact that, hey, I would like to not rent in a place where when I step outside my door, I'm stepping on a used needle. Even though the safe injection site's like literally 2 feet away, but if they're shooting up in front of my door and passing out here,
Wait,
it's
are
not
you
like they're
saying
cleaning up.
these drug addicts are breaking the law?
Yeah.
They're littering?
It's like they don't. It's like they don't. It's like they don't care. I have.
Yeah, it's like they don't care.
They all carry Narcan, because Narcan kits are you get certified in 5 minutes online.
Mhm.
Here, like, so there's the thing.
they're
You print out your
ubiquitous.
certificate.
Yep.
You go to the pharmacy. So if you're not like living on the street, so if you're deciding for your work or something, you want to get certified for that, it's like you just click through a website, watch a couple of videos, and then you print out a thing, and you get the kit for free. It's the little Narcan baggie, and then you just display it in your shop or your office or wherever. And you can say, yeah, I'm a safe place. Come here.
Safe place. That sounds
Come
good.
over and shoot up.
Please
It'll
OD
be
in my
great.
clinic.
Yeah.
That would be great. Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean-
Don't worry, people never convulse when they OD.
Yeah,
They
here's
never
your.
shake. They never violently. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, here's your your
Oh,
supervised injection site thing. I figured I'd just kill the sound.
Wow.
Good times.
Interesting.
See, you get to shoot up outside or shoot up inside. 620 drug
I'm-
overdose deaths.
Again, I might be different than some of the people on the panel and chat. I am for the decriminalization of drugs and drug use. I am not for this. I am not for this. This is going too far.
So functional.
Yeah.
What's
they
the
were
part
giving
that's going too
free.
far?
Safe injection sites. It's basically going from, okay, well, we're not going to criminally charge and put you through the system and cost taxpayer dollars, but we're also not going to promote it and let people,
Sora, I stepped on you. I didn't mean to. What were you going to say?
Yeah, you were going to.
I was going to say, because you were saying with this, the problem with these, so what they're doing here, right, is they're getting free supply, safe supply, right? That's what they call it. It's a safe supply. So you get safe supply, but these are longtime users. This doesn't work for them. It's not strong enough. It doesn't do anything. So they go to turn around and sell it for the stuff that'll end up killing them again, right?
Yeah.
So like, if you were to decriminalize that, like, how do you? There's no say we're saying, okay, we're decriminalizing it. We're going to have a safe supply into the system. It's not going to work, or maybe not for a while, because it's for unless you're waiting for the ones who are at the very worst of their addiction to just die off, and then everybody who's just a new user or whatever, they're not yet so numb to the effects, they're the ones who are going to benefit from it. I know that sounds very horrible, but how are you going to balance that, right?
I believe it was Portugal's method of okay, unfortunately, yes, there are going to be people who are too far gone and you cannot help them. The first step to getting help from any addiction is the person needs to have that drive to want help. So that's step one. They need to want to have to get help. So my idea of not locking them up, that helps them in you can direct them and say, hey, we know of a facility, you'll get checked in, we'll get you clean, we'll give you some therapy, we'll work through this together. You're not alone in this. We will get you off the junk. And then the next step is, once they've done that, they go to a halfway kind of house type deal, where there's counselors to make sure that they're keeping up, to keep them clean, give them positive reinforcement, and also help them vocationally by saying, okay, well, do you have any skills? Can we build on any of these skills? How can we get you back into society as a productive, healthy member again? And again, these people, the people that it will work for, are the people who genuinely, don't want to be doing this, but it's become so ingrained into their life, even at the early stages, that they don't know anything different. A lot of these people are hooked at a very young age, and it could be anything. It could be anything from booze and pot to, heroin and bath salts, like the hard stuff. I've seen it happen on every level. I've seen people who are hopelessly addicted to pot who let it run and dictate their lives. And I've also seen, I'm one of them, just potheads who really enjoy the stuff. We don't drink, that's our fix, but we don't allow it to control and conduct our lives. But also, I don't think that if I went and go score a gram of cocaine, that if I got caught, I should be, or the person should be, locked up for 10 years and have their entire life ruined over something that is ultimately their choice to put in their body. I know the dangers behind cocaine. I will, if I make that choice to ingest it, the onus is on me. The onus is not on society to tell me I can't do that. It's just philosophically, not legally, because obviously legally it's still,
What if it's legal, but you're only allowed to do it 7,000 feet below the surface of the ocean?
Yeah.
You better invest in fiberglass.
Yeah. See, my approach to this, and I'll give you the short version because this is not the first time I've ever said this.
Plastics.
The short version is, I don't hold people responsible for using drugs, but I hold them responsible for the actions that they take while they're on drugs.
Absolutely.
Loitering, claiming pieces of public land for their own exclusive use. That's what putting a tent on a sidewalk is. Demanding government assistance for like a self-inflicted injury, and any kind of petty crime that goes on is an opportunity to basically divert them to the ranch. Because I like the Dr. Phil ranch thing. Overactive kid, send him to the ranch. Using drugs, we're going to send you to the ranch. There are no drugs at the ranch. to okay, you're going to be outside.
A lot of hard work.
Hard work. You're going to earn your biscuits and gravy, and when you come out of this, you might get a job, as an entry level firefighter or something. It's not like there's any absence of things that need to be done in this world. But I think waiting for people to hit rock bottom, to my mind, all they really have to do is screw up and affect other people enough. And if those things are illegal, that gives the law a chance to speed the process up. Because rock bottom is not a good place to be, because for some people, rock bottom is below the surface of the earth. Not everybody who hits rock bottom. I mean, and I also don't have the patience to wait. I want them to clean up these streets of San Francisco as quickly as possible, and Toronto and Vancouver and every other damn place. But let's see. I want to take a quick break here. You guys all remember Pixar, right? They used to make movies that people enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Used to be relevant.
I thought this was kind of funny.
Wait.
That's so
Wait a
cute.
minute. Gotta see that again.
Aww. Oh, that's very sweet.
Aww.
They're playing the Pixar music. I had it muted on purpose.
Nice.
That amused me.
That is fun.
Also, things from the past. I always talk about how I like, not just craftsmanship, but the style. Art Deco is a little before the mid-century modern stuff that I love, but this is the Kodak 1A camera from 1930 and 1931.
Very nice.
And look at this beautiful thing. Now, it's a folding camera, so it's a little more compact, but this is a nice little thing. But look at the back. They didn't have to put that design on the back where the film goes. They just chose
Art
to.
Deco base plate. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, what a fantastic thing. And actually, this whole site is kind of cool. It's the Art Deco camera collection. It's artdecocameras.com. And they not only that, but they actually rate them on terms of how iconic they are for their Art Deco-ness. And there's just tons and tons of these old cameras that they rate. Really beautiful, functional art, in my opinion. But that one Kodak that I showed you is just about my favorite on this whole site. And yes, I did go through the whole thing.
Do you want to say hi to Sora and Kefki?
Oh my God, yes.
You gonna squeak? she likes to hang out right underneath the microphone, so it's
She's got shy.
Yeah.
I'll send her.
Speaking of animals.
We've seen a lot of videos of bears near homes, but not
Bears.
quite like this
God.
one.
Yeah, check out this bear in Colorado playing a little Kilroy.
It's like
on this
he's
windowsill.
escaping from
Video
his
showing the animal
mistress's
hanging by
bedroom.
its claws on the second story
Her
of the
husband
home
came
last
home.
week. That bear eventually able to pull itself.
He climbed up
Oh.
the siding with his claws and got into a second-story window.
Through another window on ground level. So that means I guess the bear had to use the stairs to get downstairs. The people living there were not home at the time. But
It's fine. We can leave the second-story window open.
Helped himself to some pork chops and snacks before leaving.
Goldilocks.
Pork chops and snacks. Well, he's working his core right there in his upper body, doing some pull-ups there at the window.
He
And
had a big protein need.
yeah, so he needed, after you work out, it's a good time to ingest some protein. So he's going to bulk up with some protein, with some pork chops. Absolutely. Bears. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. We just need the air. Just leave that second-story window open. What's the worst that can happen? It's not like it's on the ground floor.
Yeah. Not like the bear is going to pull it down.
It's not like the bear's not going to use his super sniffer to detect pork chops in the house that are thawing and go in through the upstairs window.
Yeah, the bear's going along. Damn it, those are pork chops. Are you shitting me?
Yeah, those are pork chops.
Oh, that window? Sure, no problem.
So functional, you had you spent time in food service, right? Yeah. Did you ever work at like a fast food place, like a starter job?
Yeah, before my
Well, then this might look familiar to
Taco
you.
Bell, Tim Hortons.
This is Wendy's Grill Skill 1989 video.
Oh, nice. Good music.
Oh, you haven't seen anything yet, Sora. This is amazing.
Video toaster. Digging it, yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the guitar.
Isn't it great?
I just got my
Hi,
Fender amp with the
I'm Wendy's
distortion
founder,
loop.
Thomas.
Hey, it's Dave Thomas.
From the day I opened the first Wendy's, my goal has been to serve the best hamburger in the business. A Wendy's
He's actually-
old-fashioned
he's actually
hamburger.
a good guy.
So
He is.
I started
Yes.
with the freshest beef I could
guy,
find.
really.
100% pure beef. Never frozen.
Not like those other
And
places.
we patted it into squares, so the hamburger hangs over the side of the bun. Then we cooked the patty slowly to seal it in its natural juices and served it hot off the grill with a customer's choice of toppings.
But wait.
No other hamburger chain can make those claims. That's what sets us apart from our competition, and that's why our customers come to Wendy's.
Yeah.
White this one.
I believe the only way to make a Wendy's old-fashioned hamburger is to press the meat patty. Press
Okay, Functional, are you starting to twitch like I am?
the meat patty is really important, and here's why.
Press the meat patty.
The patty tastes better
Isn't
because
that
the
like a
salt is
smash
pressed into
burger?
the meat and makes the meat
Basically.
more tender.
Like-
It also makes the patty larger, so they'll hang over the edge of the bun, and people will like that.
Okay, smashing all the delicious juice out of a hamburger patty is a terrible idea. I get that he's trying to like push the salt into the meat, but it's sort of like, one step forward, 5 steps back. But hey, he's a successful businessman, and who are we? We're just a bunch of asshats talking on the internet for free. So what do we know, right?
You can also balance it. I don't suggest doing this, but because it's the fast food industry, I understand it. You need to increase cooking speed without pushing it all out. All the juice, all the, so it can be done. What we typically did in a more higher end place with our burgers was dome it, so that the heat would sort of cook not just on the bottom where it's contact with the flat top, but the heat gets trapped and it quickens the cooking time of the burger without pressing the juice out. So yeah, I'm kind of a little twitchy, but I like Wendy's. So
Yeah.
as far as fast food goes.
Well, okay, so this goes on for a while. We're not going to watch the entire thing because we wouldn't necessarily want to be qualified to work at Wendy's. But there's little vignettes about things that happen,
Remember, we serve 100% pure
and then
ground
this
beef.
happens.
It's patted into squares.
She's the
so that
manager.
meat hangs over the bun. Now the tape I'm going to show you.
I like her bowl.
Here's a crew guide and the grill training tape. Why don't you have a look at the tape first, and I'll
Oh,
check back
definitely
with you in a
look
few
at this
minutes.
tape. You're going to love this.
Is he gonna no clip in the back rooms or something? Or?
Magic smoke. Oh no!
This is so cool and so lame at the same time. I love it.
Look at this guy.
So 80s.
Stop doing that at me.
It ain't so tough. But first of all, you got to check your stuff. Like a grill that's set at 250 with the meat and cheese that's ready to go. A towel to keep your station looking cool. But most of all, you got to have your tool.
I'm just dying inside.
With me now? Get
God.
ready. We're gonna lay them down. Now, beats got grain to it just like wood. You got to follow the arrow to lay it down like you should. From the front to the back, you got to lay it down. Space it evenly, not scattered around. Next, you got to salt the meat from the back to the front to make the taste complete.
So you getting learned functional. So if the economy gets really bad, do you feel like you could re-enter the workforce after watching this video? You know, as a fast food professional.
80s. I don't like this.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
No, that was great fun.
Yeah, look, and here he is. Here he is pressing down on the burger.
Get a patty that's out of sight. Press out the corners nice and wide, at least half an inch on both sides. The reason you press, you gotta think. When the meat hits the grill, it starts to shrink.
We start shrinking when we hit that grill. You know it will. We start shrinking when we hit that grill. You know it will.
Okay. I'm almost afraid to look at chat. Are people enjoying this, or is it just me?
This is a bad acid trip.
It's quite the thing.
That poor kid.
Oh yeah,
like,
we're
was forced to be in there.
It's awesome. We're hemorrhaging viewers. Okay, well at least we're having fun.
It's funny.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
I like this video. And then there's part 2.
Oh no.
Where do I start? What do I do? Just remember the rap, Billy, and you'll be cool.
Yeah, I don't think Billy's ever been cool.
Meat's got grain
No.
to it, just like wood. Follow the air.
Yeah, I mean, as training videos go, this is not the worst thing I've ever seen, and that's saying something because this is pretty bad.
Well, they're targeting their audience, or their audience. Their audience is going to be, you know, skill-less teenagers who need simple. What's it called when you create a kind of like catchy tune to do instructions? There's a name for it.
Jingle?
No, like auto.
Jingle?
I don't know. It's a mnemonic technique.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, like Sora, the ABCs, the song A B C D to that tune. It's a mnemonic device to help children remember their ABCs. So with this, it's very helpful in that for those, you know, air quotes, skill-less teenagers to get the instructions to replicate and reproduce the same every time. Because when you have a chain like Wendy's, if you get a burger here in Toronto, San Francisco, Texas, or the Philippines, it should be the same.
Yeah, they'll all have the juice pressed out of them with a gold spatula.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah, I
burger
know.
will always taste the same no matter which Wendy's you go to across the globe. Like the burger is standardized. This helps with that process. So I understand, like it's a very good technique to get their employees on board with the standards. And that's good. That's good.
Well, corporate video in general, you know, as a guy who's actually made corporate videos, corporate videos in general are kind of terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, much like I do with this show, I interject my lame brand of humor into them to try to make them at least not completely unbearable. But any kind of thing where you've got to accomplish something like teaching somebody a procedure is tough. It gets to be really rough. I should show you something just because it's funny. I don't know if we'll get copy struck.
Please,
we'll probably get copy struck. Let me see what's it say.
Yeah, that'll be fun. It'll be a change for us.
Pizza.
Typing on his 1985 ANSI compliant keyboard sounds like.
Actual harassment.
Oh, good.
Okay. This was a thing that was on Funny or Die. I'm not going to show too much of this because like I said, I don't want to get us completely copy struck. But
Oh, hi.
Remember
I'm
Herman Cain? Yeah.
CEO and chairman of Godfather's Pizza. And if you're watching this video, congratulations. You're a new member of the Godfather's team. Or as they say, you've
Love
been
Tim
made.
Meadows.
Yeah, Tim Meadows is great.
That's Tim Meadows.
Tim Meadows was back from when SNL was still kind of funny.
Or SNL, yeah.
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 Now, I know you're eager to get out there and start slicing up and serving some pizza, but before we do that, we have some very important things to talk about. Sexual harassment in the workplace. Come with me.
Yeah, here I go, derailing my show again. Okay.
Looks like he enjoys some of that.
It's been a long day rolling out the dough, and you see a coworker and you think, man, I'd like to touch that girl's body. Well, not so fast. You need to learn what kind of touching is acceptable. Allow me to demonstrate with, what's your name?
Cassandra?
Cassandra. Nice.
It just kills me every time.
The places on Cassandra that it's okay for me to touch. Here, 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 and here. Ah, no, you don't. I'm just playing with you. That's what we call a no zone. A lot of people think that sexual harassment only occurs male to female, but that's not so. It can actually happen the other way around.
Oh no. Oh no.
It's okay.
Where's the no zone on the guy? Show
Now, here
us.
to demonstrate, Julie here will be playing the role of the sexual harasser, and I will be playing the victim. Julie, touch my dick.
No.
Come on, just wave at it. Give it a little smile.
No.
Come on, grab that son of a bitch.
No.
Congratulations. When a coworker says no, sometimes she really means yes. Wait for a woman to say no 3 times before you leave her alone. I call it the 999 rule. That's German for no, no, no.
999 was actually part of his tax plan, Herman Cain. So it's a bit of a deep cut there.
Yes.
All right, we're doing this
Asking a
apparently.
very
Okay.
nice German lady to take a pee on me. If you're like me, you may think you can get away with harassing your coworkers somewhere private,
Love that
like
Epson
a
monitor.
ladies' room. Well, you are wrong.
Yes.
You will be caught by my surveillance cameras. No, yeah, she ain't getting harassed. She's just pooping. Now you're probably thinking,
Oh my god.
Sorry. Here we go. I just have to pause. I'm just trying not to get copy struck. I apologize for all the pausing.
yeah, in the kitchen, I gotta watch myself, but if I'm dealing with the customers, I can get me some, right? Not so fast. You must keep at least 8 inches between yourself and the customers, and that's the length of one of our own Godfather's pepperoni sticks. Whoops, I got a little too close, see? Whoops, too close again. Now I'm fine. Too close, too close, too close. This is way too close. I'm really close. Close, 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 close. Too close. Close, 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 close. 10 inches away. 8. Uh-oh. Too close. Too close. Too close. Too close. And Godfather.
I forgot how much I love this.
Oh my god. That is so funny.
Okay.
Pizza, we're like a family. A real touchy family. And like any touchy family, we might pat you on the butt or grab your thigh. Hell, I may fondle your titties myself. But remember, that's what Italians do. Now let's get out there and make the pizza pie. Speaking of which, 1, 2, 3, hit it!
Just one more pause before we go into the song.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
My love is an offer you can't refuse. My love is an offer you can't refuse. And Godfathers are like a family. So come on and show me some titties.
Okay. So you've seen the real thing, and you've seen the parody of the real thing. Man, the 80s were great.
In so many ways. In so many ways. Oh my god, that was a funny time.
Yeah, it was. I can't really top that, but I do want to go the full 2 hours because that's what we tell people we're going to do.
Well, the thing about the 80s was you would come home from work and you would get loaded basically during the evening, and then that was what you would watch
Mm-hmm.
in the course of the evening. Life was so different before this whole internet thing came
Yeah. Always connected means always reading email.
Yeah. No
Always being aware. In the 80s, that whole thing, if you didn't turn on CNN, you wouldn't have even known about that whole coup thing.
Right.
Would have happened and completed before you even realized it. It would have been a footnote the next day. Oh, by the way, this thing almost happened, but it didn't. But we get to live out the drama of it as the day goes on. So, Skep, are you familiar with the TV series, the series of shorts that was on for like 40-something years called Star Hustler, which then later got recalled Stargazer? It was on PBS.
Yeah.
Okay,
I remember it. I wasn't real familiar.
Well, it ran from 1976 all the way to 2001 or 2011.
Really?
Yeah, it did. And here's just a sample, just as we go back to 1987 again.
Your star hustler, Jack Horkheimer.
Greetings, fellow Stargazers, and remember, this month is Star Hustler Astronomy Club Month, which simply means that we've asked astronomy clubs everywhere to feature through their telescopes all month long the planets Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, because they're perfectly placed right now, directly above the southern horizon, just above the teapot of Sagittarius.
Now, Sora, what's amazing here, because I always go to you for fashion, because I don't know anything about fashion, but I do know this. A man wearing a members-only jacket that's freshly pressed in 1987 is kind of an amazing thing. Those were popular around 1978 to 1980, 81 maybe. So by the time he's making this video, this is already borderline serial killer behavior that he's exhibiting from a fashion sense. This is the kind of jacket that people wear with aviators before they,
Right, do somebody.
dig up their cache of weapons that they keep in different states. I mean, this is weird behavior. So on top of being particularly strange, this is practically a clothing fetish that he's involved in. But since you're here, let's see, where did that go? Star Hustler. Sorry, just being a little disorganized here.
The teapot of Sagittarius. Or as we used to say, the centaur shooting the arrow. But now we have to call it a teapot.
And the steam coming out of the teapot is the Milky Way.
Right.
But don't ask to see the ninth planet, Pluto, please. Even though something very interesting is happening with it this week. You see, Pluto is so incredibly far away, usually over 3 billion miles away, and is so small that the only way we can see it is through extremely large observatory telescopes.
Like not planet-sized.
Even then, you have to know exactly what you're looking at in order to separate it from all the other sky objects.
Because it's so small.
In fact, it was discovered not with the naked eye, but on a photograph. And only after 15 years of taking and searching thousands and thousands of photographs. And this is the photograph of its discovery 60 years ago.
There it is, Sora. That's
Why didn't they just look for the plus sign? Why didn't they just look for the plus sign?
yeah. I mean, that's the first image of Pluto where we said, "Yep, there's Pluto." But
oh well, hell, of course it's a planet.
yeah, totally a planet. Yeah, okay,
yeah.
but wait, there's more. 100%, totally legit planet.
Go.
Because planets totally do this.
At the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona. Clyde, I understand, is a regular Star Hustler watcher. So, Clyde, would you believe that this week Pluto is at perihelion? Something that won't happen again for 248 years? Yes, indeed, fellow stargazers. Pluto is at peri, which is Latin for closest to, and helios, which is Greek for the sun.
See, we're getting learning.
May not exactly rattle many people's cages back here on planet number 3, except for the fact that because Pluto is at its closest to the sun right now, means that it is not the 9th planet anymore. That is the planet farthest from the sun. Indeed,
Sweet.
Pluto
Pluto
is now
planet confirmed.
actually closer to the sun than Neptune. And it will be until the year 1999.
Yeah.
Switch.
Yeah. Because that's a thing that planets totally do, intersect each other's orbits. And yeah.
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 Yeah. Just because you're a hater and you don't believe that they can do that doesn't mean that they can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm using my alt account for this. This is the Sunfish Are Terrible account that we're looking at this on, which used to be the Pluto is not a planet account, which I created mostly just to tease Jenna. Just so I could go into Super Chat and send Jenna messages. That's the only reason I created this account. Now I use it for this. Because why not, right?
Good. No, it's good.
Yeah, good times. Let's see. I want to complain about. This is something which I absolutely despise, and it's not because of whatever's going on with these two. I just hate this particular channel. So you can tell me if I'm being a hater or if I'm on the right track.
Well, it's you, so you're being a hater, but
It's the Sugar and Spice Twins
these guys.
channel.
Yeah.
It looks this channel drives
They're very
me
loud.
crazy. They are very loud.
Yeah.
Where's the let's see? I had a thing
Where's the content?
where they were going to 7-Eleven, but it didn't bring up the link the way it's supposed to. Of course, why would anything go properly today? How can I show you the thing I'm trying to show you if it's hidden? But this channel is just like these people dress up and drag and go be annoying. Oh, here it is.
No offense, but how do y'all hide y'all's junk? Oh, they mean like junk food? No, sweetie. They want to know where the ding-a-ling goes. Oh, well, I don't hide my junk. I eat it. Let's go get chips.
If these were biological women, I would hate this just as much. Just the gender of these people, biology has nothing to do with the reason that I hate
Cringe by
this.
any other name.
I know I'm admitting to being a hater, but I'm. Am I just missing the joke, Sora? Because you're my guide through old culture, I guess.
Yeah.
This is terrible, right?
They're just really annoying.
Attention seeking, annoying.
The ones that the funny ones are there's two drag queens that are really quite funny that they have a talk show together on YouTube. That I love seeing the clips because they're just the right amount of sarcastic and terrible that I love them. They're quite funny. But these two, no, they're just annoying.
They really are. I mean, like
they're the type who are like, well, we're gonna make it inconvenient for everyone because look, we're so funny and ditzy. Because their character as their drag queen personas are very bimbo. They're like bimbo-esque, which is annoying because I've seen it done really funny in a way where it's like subverting the trope. They're not doing that though. And I don't know if they're not twins. I'm not sure if they're not actually brothers. And sometimes if they're not, fine, that's okay. But if they actually are, they have some really borderline questionable content for people who may be blood related.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of that stuff with people related who do strange things. I think Elizabeth Hurley's son produced some video that she made recently. Ugh. And they have a weird relationship, the two of them. It's very strange. I mean,
how so?
They're weirdly close for mother and son in ways that just feel kind of uncomfortable to people who aren't them.
Do I want to know?
I mean, I don't think there's anything going on. I think it's just creepy. It's just creepy.
It's still creepy. Too close mother and son. It's still creepy.
Yeah, well, I mean, she really puts herself out there, and he just sort of pals around with her, and it's just strange. Like you wouldn't want your son to be your wingman if you're going to a club, that kind of thing. No, it's just odd.
You would want him to want more.
Yeah, you don't want to pimp out your mom. That's just anything that feels like you're pandering for your mom is just wrong.
It's Take that as a signpost.
Yeah, as people talk about, is that a red flag? Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's a red flag.
Yes.
On a 60-foot pole.
Exactly.
That's it.
Flapping
Full
majestically in the breeze.
Full hoist in a gale.
Full mast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
Oh boy.
We did it again.
Hey.
Did they waste another 2 hours of their life listening to us?
They did. If you would,
Sure did.
yeah,
On purpose.
it happened. But you know, there are worse ways to spend a Saturday night.
Bless their hearts.
A lot of worse ways. So anyway, thank you,
It was
panel.
fun.
Thank you, chat.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Doing all
And
the
we
work.
had no audio problems tonight, right?
No.
Mission accomplished.
I hope not.
All right.
All right.
Zoo's closed. Good night, everybody.
Good
Bye.
night,
Night
everybody.
night.